Hi everyone, John here.
And Anne-Marie. Whether you need to study English for school or work, for a big test, or just because you want to improve your language skills, the way you study is important.
That's right. No one wants to waste time studying the wrong way. That's why we've put together some tips to help you maximize your English study time.
The first tip we want to talk about is the idea of keeping a notebook.
No matter what level your language ability is at, you will constantly be learning new vocabulary words. You'll need a way to keep track of them.
That's why keeping a notebook handy is so important. When you hear or read a new word, take the time to write it down in your notebook. This way, all the vocabulary you are working on is in the same place.
What if you don't know how to spell a word that you hear? That's okay. Write out how it sounds or what you think you heard. You can come back later and fix it.
So, why do you need a list of the vocabulary you're learning? Well, it's easy to forget new words if you aren't going back later to review.
Every so often, maybe once a day or once a week, go through your notebook and review the words you've written down. Repetition is important for retaining information.
The more you review, the more vocabulary you'll remember. Give it a shot. Something else you should give a shot? Making flashcards.
Making flashcards can help you study more effectively. Here's how you do it. Write one English word or phrase on one side of the card and the translation on the other side.
During your designated study time, or whenever you have a free moment during the day, you can go through your cards.
They can be used two ways. You can look at the English and say the definition in your native language, or you can look at the translation you wrote and try to think of the right English word.
The great thing about flashcards is they can be used over and over again. You can also rotate which cards you keep with you based on the vocabulary you're trying to work on.
Not only that, but writing the cards is actually great English practice as well.
When I was learning Chinese, a big part of my study routine was making flashcards. As a beginner, I taped the cards to items in my home to learn their names.
That doesn't really help for more advanced learners, though.
No, it doesn't. But if you are a more advanced language learner, flashcards are an amazing way to learn niche vocabulary and practice it on the go.
That's a good point. Choose a topic you want to be able to understand in English and write all the related words on flashcards. You can even have different sets of flashcards for different topics.
Have you ever tried using flashcards to maximize your English study time, friends? If not, give it a try.
You know, flashcards are nice because you don't really have to spend a long time going through them if you don't want. In fact, you could go through them a little bit each day.
That's a great point, John. And that's part of our next tip, too. Spreading out your study. So first, let's talk about what it means to spread out.
In this case, to spread out means to divide something up over a period of time. When we say spread out your study, we mean don't study all at once.
For example, when you exercise, it's not a good idea to pick one day of the week to do all your workouts. It's better to do 3 or 4 days during the week.
It's the same with studying English. Only studying English once a week is not enough. Spread out your study throughout the week.
Yes, and if you're already studying English every day, good for you. But you can maximize what you retain if you break up your study throughout the day.
That's true. Instead of sitting for a whole hour or two to cram as much English in your brain as you can, it's better to study for 15 to 30-minute increments at different times of the day.
This makes it so that you have more opportunities to go over what you're learning. There's also not as much time in between studying, so your brain doesn't have time to forget what you already learned.
This is a habit that takes time to form. It might be different from how you usually study.
But give it a try. You might be surprised to find how it improves your study time.
The next tip we have for maximizing your English study time follows a similar principle. Not only should you spread out your study time, but you should also vary your study materials.
Learning English from just one class, one school, one textbook, or one teacher severely limits your language ability. You'll only learn the things that one place or person focuses on.
For example, if you have an English textbook and it's a good textbook, but it only teaches grammar, the only thing you'll be able to do in English is have good grammar. That doesn't do anything for your listening or speaking skills.
Or maybe you like a certain teacher or professor online, but they only teach slang or niche vocabulary for the business world. How will you ever be able to have a casual conversation?
That's why you need to learn English from a variety of places. Vary your study materials.
Imagine if you took the examples above and combined them. Learning English from a grammar textbook and niche business vocabulary from a teacher online. What a great combination.
Now add in an English podcast once a week and reading an English book for fun. Learning from all these different places rounds out your language skills.
What's your favorite way to learn English? If that's all you do, maybe it's time to add in a new way and level up.
We hope you find these tips helpful. If you've tried any of them out, let us know in the comments below and make sure you are subscribed. We post weekly tips to help you improve your English. Bye-bye.